You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. Event number 1, a part of 3 events going on during the All-Star break. It's the Futures Game, featuring several top prospects from both leagues. All 30 teams represented. And on the mound for the National League Futures is Mackenzie Gore. Those are his minor league stats in 2020. The record doesn't look great, but his ERA is still respectable. He's of the San Diego Padres organization. Was drafted in the first round, 3rd overall in 2017, and he's 21 years old. Leading off for the American League Futures is Bobby Whitt Jr. Now, Bobby Whitt Jr. was drafted by the Kansas City Royals in 2019. He was a first-round selection, but has bounced around a few teams over this 2020 season. Got traded from the Royals to the Brewers, and then got traded from the Brewers to the Blue Jays. So now he's a part of the Blue Jays organization. Still a top prospect around Major League Baseball and still representing the American League in this game. This is Dodger Stadium. This is the stadium that will host Major League Baseball's All-Star Game tomorrow night. Counts 1-2. Mackenzie Gore, 94 miles per hour on that last pitch. Bobby Whitt Jr., the starting shortstop in this game for the American League Futures. High drive toward left field. To the wall, the ball goes. It's gone! How about that? Bobby Whitt Jr. leads off the ball game with a home run. 1-0 American League Futures. That wasn't a cheapie either. That got into the seats out there in left field. Here's Dylan Thomas at the plate now. Those are his stats from the year in Oakland's minor league system. Dylan Thomas was a 2011 draft pick. He was drafted by the Colorado Rockies in the 4th round, 138th overall. But Thomas now in the Oakland Athletics system, and he's the starting right fielder in this game for the American League Futures. So he's been around a few minor league systems in his career. He's played for 12 different teams. Thomas, despite being around professional baseball for the betterment of his career, the better part of his career, still hasn't made a Major League debut yet. Got a 4th-round selection, not too low. I mean, he was a top prospect for a while, and he still is. Putting up good numbers this year. We'll have to see if he gets called up or what will happen to him. But Mackenzie Gore rebounds well after giving up the home run. That's a strikeout of Dylan Thomas. That's the first out of the ball game.
Thompson Williams.
With that, Dom T. Williams will come to the plate. Dom T. Williams, an outfielder in the Minnesota Twins system. And he's been a top prospect for a couple seasons now, batting .276 with 13 home runs and 37 RBIs in AAA. He's batting 3rd and starting in center field for the American League Futures in this game. Counts 2-0. Mackenzie Gore gave up a solo home run to Bobby Whitt Jr. leading off the ball game. And the NL Futures trailing early. Hitters count on Dom T. Williams. Counts 2-2. Excuse me, counts 2-1. Three and one's the count. So Dom T. Williams, his full name Dom Thompson Williams. Grounded toward shortstop. Bobby Evans at short. Throws him out. That's out number 2. And with that, here's the starting lineup for the AL Futures. Of course, most of these players, top prospects and systems. The oldest of them all is Dylan Thomas, the number 2 hitter, but everybody else, 22 years of age or less. Now here's Tristan Cassius batting with 2 outs and the bases empty. The AL Futures up 1-0. Tristan Cassius, a third baseman, a top prospect in the Boston Red Sox system. Swing and a miss, counts quickly 0-2. Mackenzie Gore has rebounded well after giving up the home run to lead off the game. Strike 3 called, well-placed pitch. Cassius down on strikes. That ends the top of the first inning. So Mackenzie Gore strikes out 2 batters in the top of the first, but this is a bit of a blemish. Bobby Whitt Jr. hit a solo home run. It's 1-0 AL Futures going to the bottom of the first inning. On the mound for the American League Futures is Alek Manoah. 3.44 ERA in 3 starts this season with the Blue Jays AAA team. Manoah's working through the ranks quickly. He was just drafted last season. Alek Manoah, a first-round draft pick of the Toronto Blue Jays, was drafted 11th overall in the 2019 amateur draft. He's 22 years old, and he signed a contract with the Blue Jays worth $4.5 million. Counts 0-1. Cesar Silva up to the plate, the starting left fielder for this National League Futures team. It's part of the Arizona Diamondbacks minor league system. Counts quickly, no balls and 2 strikes on the NL's left fielder. Check swing, but the home plate umpire says he went around. That's out number 1.
Batting second, the center fielder, Kyle Isbell.
So here's Kyle Isbell now, the center fielder for the National League Futures team. Alek Manoah struck out Cesar Silva on 3 pitches, and now the 4th pitch of this half inning hit out to right field. And the catch made out in right by Dylan Thomas. 2 quick outs in the bottom of the first inning, and here's the starting lineup for the NL Futures. Unlike the American League Futures team, this entire team is filled with players between the ages of 18 and 22. And there's not much to say about them individually because they're all in this game for a reason, so it's pretty self-explanatory that they're some of the best and top prospects from the National League. Here's Bobby Evans, starting shortstop, a member of the San Francisco Giants organization. Counts 1-1. Alek Manoah, 6 pitches now. He's throwing efficiently in this one. Got Cesar Silva to strike out on 3 pitches. And Kyle Isbell flew out to right field on the first pitch he saw. Now a split count, 1-1 on Evans. That's hit out toward left field. Catch made out and left, and that ends the bottom of the first inning. No runs on no hits, and nobody left on for the National League Futures. After 1 full inning, the AL Futures lead the NL Futures 1-0. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. This is the Futures game at Dodger Stadium. The best prospects in the American and National Leagues facing off against each other. And don't forget, we have the Home Run Derby later tonight as well. 8 o'clock Eastern's the start time. And tomorrow, the All-Star Game will be played. All 3 events, though, during the All-Star break happening here at Dodger Stadium. Hosting the 2020 All-Star break events. The Futures Game happening now, the Home Run Derby later tonight. And then the All-Star Game tomorrow. Counts 2-1. This is the number 5 hitter in the AL Futures order, Chad De La Guerra. Starting at second base for the AL Futures, and he's a part of the Cleveland Indians organization. And Mackenzie Gore on the mound, a San Diego Padres prospect. Pitching down early. 1-0 score, the AL Futures lead it. Bobby Whitt Jr. hit a solo home run leading off the ball game. Gore buckled down after that, got the next 3 outs without letting up a base runner. There he is pitching now in the second, 3-2. Got him to swing and miss. Chad De La Guerra down on strikes. That's out number 1 here in the top of the second. And here comes Corey Lee. Corey Lee, a part of the Houston Astros organization. He was taken 32nd overall. A first-round draft pick of the Houston Astros back in 2019's Major League Baseball amateur draft. He signed for $1.75 million. The Astros have needed some catching depth in their system. They haven't been too stable at the catcher position. They haven't... Well, I guess I can't say that, as that's popped out to second base, out number 2. But Robinson Chirinos was great offensively, not too great defensively. Then they have Martin Maldonado, who's great defensively, but not great offensively. So a star catcher is certainly something that couldn't help them. Corey Lee hoping to develop. The Astros system hoping that he develops. Lazaro Armenteros standing up now, also referred to as Lazarito. In this game, he's starting in left field for the AL Futures, and he's a part of the Athletics organization. Line drive foul, the count 1-2. Mackenzie Gore, other than the home run he gave up last inning, is buckled down and gotten outs. At 6 straight retired by Mackenzie Gore. Strikeout completed. Top of the second inning over. No runs, no hits, and nobody left on for the AL Futures. Moving to the bottom of the second inning. Still 1-0 AL Futures lead. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis, and the middle of the order due up for the NL Futures, and J.J. Bleday leading off. Bleday lines that one over the head of Bobby Whitt Jr. To the left field, a base hit. That's the first hit for the NL Futures in this game. J.J. Bleday, a part of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization, and the first one to record a hit for the NL Futures. Now here's Shea. Let me make sure I get this right. Langoliers. Shea Langoliers, a part of the Braves minor league system. And in this game, he is the starting catcher. 246 hitter with 3 home runs and 8 RBIs. At this point in his career, he's down in Double-A. He's got a few more years to develop. Like almost every player in this lineup, his organization has high hopes for him. Again, an Atlanta Braves prospect. Ooh, man, he went down and chased that pitch. Second strikeout for Manoah in this game. That's out number 1 here in the bottom of the second inning. And with that, Cody Hosey will come to the plate. Hosey was drafted by the Los Angeles Dodgers. but had gotten traded to the Colorado Rockies at some point this season. So he's in the Rockies system now. Of course, it's hard to tell when he'll make his Major League debut because the starting third baseman is a perennial all-star for the Rockies right now, Nolan Arenado. But Arenado leaving in free agency soon, and there have been some trade rumors about him, so maybe not. We'll have to see. But Hosey flies out. So 2 outs, bottom of the second, and here's Michael Toglia. He's a .274 average and 1 home run so far in his minor league season. Lede back to first safely. Manoah keeping an eye on him. But Toglia, also a member of the Colorado Rockies minor league system. And he's the starting first baseman in this game. Counts 2-0 on Toglia. Toglia was drafted 23rd overall by the Colorado Rockies in the 2019 draft. Prado to second. Throw to first. Toglia out at first base, and that ends the bottom of the second inning. No runs on a hit for the NL Futures, and 1 runner left on base. After 2 full innings, the AL Futures have a 1-0 lead over the NL Futures. And a new pitcher coming in for the NL Futures. It's Spencer Howard. So Mackenzie Gore went 2 full innings and gave up an earned run, and now we have a new player coming in to pitch. It's right-handed pitcher Spencer Howard. 8-9-1 hitters due up for the AL Futures. Jason Dominguez, Nick Prado, and Bobby Whitt Jr. Jason Dominguez, an outfield prospect with the New York Yankees. In this game, though, he is the designated hitter. Bunt by Dominguez. Throw to first in time. Charged well by Cody Hosey. That's out number 1 on the top of the third. And with that, Nick Prado will come to the plate. But Spencer Howard on the mound was drafted in the 2nd round, 45th overall by the Philadelphia Phillies in the 2017 draft. Count 0-1 on Nick Prado, a member of the Kansas City Royals organization. And he's starting at first base in this game for the AL Futures. Howard blows it by him, counts 0-2. Counts 1-2 on Prado, who was a 2017 selection by the Kansas City Royals, and he's still in their farm system. He was drafted in the 1st round, 14th overall, back in 2017. And he strikes out there against Spencer Howard, a player also drafted in the year 2017.
Now batting, shortstop, Whitt Jr.
So with 2 outs in the top of the 3rd inning, Bobby Whitt Jr. will come up to the plate. Bobby Whitt Jr. homered off Mackenzie Gore in the 1st inning. That was to lead off the ball game and gave the AL Futures an almost immediate 1-0 lead. But in a game like this, the nature is that you probably won't see the same pitcher at the plate more than once. Which is a good thing, everybody getting exposure, but that's part of the difficulty for players, too, playing in games like this. You can't get a rhythm against a pitcher because you're not seeing a pitcher 2 to 3 times a game. You're seeing him once. But we'll see how Bobby Whitt Jr. adjusts in his 2nd plate appearance of the game. Count even 2-2. 2-2 pitch coming from Spencer Howard. Phillies prospect against the Blue Jays prospect. Grounded left side. Played by Evans, but it's not in time. He could not throw out Whitt Jr. And that's a 2-out single. That's 2 hits now for Bobby Whitt Jr. in this game. Still a bit of a stretch, but If he hits a double and a triple, he'll have the cycle in this game. 2 outs, top of the third. Here's Dylan Thomas. Thomas struck out in his first at bat, and he takes strike 1 there. More of a matchup now for Thomas. It's not lefty on lefty. With Spencer Howard on the mound, he has a bit more of an advantage. Him being a left-handed hitter and the righty pitcher on the mound. Slide step. Pitch out. Oh, not pitch out, but the pitch was outside. Counts 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Thomas, again, drafted by the Colorado Rockies all the way back in 2011. But has found his way through several minor league organizations and is now a part of the Oakland Athletics minor league system. 1 ball, 2 strike count on the starting right fielder for the AL Futures. Howard's pitch coming. Runner goes. And a foul ball, so Whitt Jr. trying to steal will have to go back to first base on the foul ball. Another 1-2 pitch coming. Runner goes again. Pitch misses high. Throw it out, not in time. Bobby Whitt Jr. steals second base. And he's doing it all in this game. Has a home run, a single, and a stolen base. Now he's in scoring position. 2-2 count on Dylan Thomas. Here's the pitch. Too far outside, counts full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Thompson Williams would bat next if Dylan Thomas could reach base. Full count pitch. That's hit well out toward left field. Silva able to make the catch out in left field. And the top of the third inning over. No runs on 1 hit, also a stolen base. The same guy, Whitt Jr., and 1 runner left in scoring position. Going to the bottom of the third, the AL Futures still lead this one 1-0. Here's a new pitcher for the AL Futures. It's Chris Bubic. Has pitched in 33 games this season. And the 8-9-1 hitters are due up in the NL Futures order. Michael Busch, Brett Beatty, and Cesar Silva. Ball 1 outside to Busch. Middle infield prospect in the Los Angeles Dodgers system. That's a strike, counts 1-1. So the National League Futures started a left-hander, then put in a right-hander, and the opposite for the AL Futures, starting a right-hander and now a left-hander on the mound. Strike 3 called on Busch. That's out number 1.
Batting 9, the designated hitter.
That breaking ball was left out. Caught a lot of the plate. Certainly a strike. And Busch seemed to know it as well. So here's Brett Beatty, the starting third baseman in this game, and a member of the New York Mets organization. As for Chris Bubic on the mound, he's a 22-year-old left-hander in the Kansas City Royals organization. He was drafted 40th overall by the Royals in 2018 and signed an amateur deal worth over $1 million. 1-1. The Royals in need of some top prospects, a team that struggled in recent years, especially pitching as well. Their pitching hasn't been too good in recent years, especially not this year. 1 ball, 2 strike count coming. Pitch coming to Beatty. That's fouled off down the left side. Count still 1-2. Down low, counts 2 balls and 2 strikes. Beatty was the 12th overall pick in the 2019 MLB draft by the Mets. As he hits that one out toward left field, and the catch made out and left. Armenteros able to run it down. That's out number 2 in the bottom of the third inning.
Cesar
And with that,
Silva.
top of the order comes back up for the NL Futures. It's Cesar Silva. No home runs this season for him. Average and RBI count not looking too great either, but pertaining to today, he's 0 for 1. This game, of course, an exhibition just to showcase some of the best prospects from both leagues. So far, the only major offense, though, has come from the AL Futures' Bobby Whitt Jr., who has 2 hits, one of which was a home run. He also stole a base.
1 ball, 2 strikes, count.
The only hit so far for the NL Futures was from Pirates prospect J.J. Bleday, who led off the second inning with a single. But nothing was made of it. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Silva. Pitch from Bubic. Just outside, counts 2-2. Bubic using that breaking ball rather extensively. Even count, 2-2 pitch up the middle. Played by Whitt Jr. And he throws to Prado, and that ends the 3rd inning. So no runs on no hits and nobody left on base for the NL Futures. After 3 full innings, it's the AL Futures with a 1-0 lead.
Your attention, please.
Brandon Waddell comes on to pitch now for the NL Futures. He'll start the 4th inning. Waddell, a member of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. He was drafted in the 5th round by the Pirates in 2015. He's 26 years old. And he'll face the heart of this AL Futures order. They begin the top of the 4th inning. Thompson Williams takes strike 1 against Waddell. Lefty on lefty matchup. Again, Dom T. Williams, a part of the Minnesota Twins minor league system. He rose through the ranks quickly, however. He's a very talented outfielder, and there is a chance that before 2020 is over, he will make his major league debut.
Nope.
1-1's too high and outside.
2 balls, 1 strike.
Counts 2-1. That's foul. The count now 2-2. But Dom T. Williams, a former draft pick of the New York Yankees, he was picked in round 5, 158th overall in the 2016 draft. Strike 3 called. That's out number 1 here in the top of the 4th.
The bat, the third baseman.
But just a quick note on Dom T. Williams. He was a part of the deal when James Paxton got acquired by the Yankees. He was traded to the Mariners. And somehow he was dealt over to the Minnesota Twins. But here's Tristan Cassius. Cassius, a 2019 draft pick by the Boston Red Sox. Starting this game at 3rd base. He's 0 for 1. Facing a new arm now, though. It's another left-hander. So it's been lefty, righty, lefty for the NL Futures. Mackenzie Gore started, pitched 2 innings. Gave up 1 earned run. Spencer Howard pitched the 3rd, and now Waddell pitching in the 4th. That ball's hit well toward right field. J.J. Bleday runs it down and makes the catch. So 2 outs, top of the 4th.
The second baseman.
And with that, the number 5 hitter for the AL Futures comes up to the plate. It's Chad De La Guerra. De La Guerra 0 for 1. He struck out in the 2nd inning against Mackenzie Gore. This game progressing rather quickly.
1-0.
Pitching for the most part has been pretty decent. Pretty good. 1 blemish in the whole game, though, for pitchers. Well, maybe now 2. That sounded differently off the bat. That ball is way gone. Chad De La Guerra Hits a home run off Brandon Waddell, excuse me. But it's 2-0. The AL Futures lead this one. So the AL Futures got a solo home run from Bobby Whitt Jr. in the first inning. And now, here in inning number 4, home run hit by Chad De La Guerra, the Cleveland Indians middle infield prospect. Now here's Corey Lee, Houston Astros catching prospect. He's 0 for 1. He popped out in the second inning. Batting here with 2 outs, bases empty, and a run in. On the ground left side. Played by Cody Hosey at third base. Throws out Lee, and that ends the top of the 4th inning, but a run in on the solo homer by Chad De La Guerra. And after 3.5 innings, it's the AL Futures leading the NL Futures 2-0.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention.
Tarek Skubal
now
pitching for the AL Futures.
Number 87, Tarek Skubal.
You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. This is our first of 3 All-Star break events happening. Look at that, bunt single. Kyle Isbell gets himself aboard to lead off the bottom of the 4th inning. The NL Futures have a base runner, and it's still early in this game, but that move now moves the potential tying run to the plate. And Kyle Isbell steals second after bunting himself on for a hit. Look at this speed. Pure speed outruns that throw. And now Isbell in scoring position, and again, Bobby Evans, the one at the plate, representing the potential tying run. Still relatively early, bottom of the 4th inning. But the NL Futures down. They've been down since the first inning. Two ball, no strike pitch. Runner goes to third. Lee's throw. That one's in time. And Isbell a bit too greedy. He gets thrown out trying to steal third. Not a great jump. And commits a baseball sin there too. Makes the first out of the inning at third base. So now the base is empty and 1 out. Evans batting with the bases empty. You also got the heart of the order coming up too. Makes sense to try to swipe second, especially with his speed, but third, a bit of a risk. Skubal's 3-1. Outside, that's ball 4. So the whole dynamic of that inning changes. For this inning, but you get what I'm saying. Instead of first and second, nobody out. It's a runner on first and 1 out. Here's J.J. Bleday. He singled back in inning number 2. Off Alec Manoah and a pickoff attempt over to first base. Skubal, a part of the Detroit Tigers organization. He's 23 years old.
That's a ball. Ball 1, no strike.
1 ball, no strike count. Skubal was drafted in 2018 by the Tigers. That's popped into the air towards center field. Thompson Williams makes the catch. And Evans goes back to first base. 2 outs, bottom of the 4th. Now coming to the plate, Shea Langoliers. Langoliers 0 for 1. He struck out his last at bat. Tarek Skubal gave up a single and a stolen base. Well, technically he didn't give up the stolen base, but you get the point. His single that he gave up led to a stolen base. And look at this. The NL Futures being very aggressive on the base paths. Out at second is Bobby Evans. 2 caught stealings And the fourth inning is over. No runs on one hit. One walk in the inning and nobody left on base. After 4 full innings, it's a 2-0 AL Futures lead. And now pitching for the NL Futures is Tim Cate. Bottom of the order due up for the AL Futures in this half inning. Lazaro Armenteros, Jason Dominguez, and Nick Prado. Armenteros 0 for 1. Tyler Kolek now warming up in the NL Futures bullpen. But all the offense so far has come from the AL Futures on 2 solo home runs. One by Bobby Whitt Jr. and the other by Chad De La Guerra. Swing and a miss, counts 1 and 2 on the outfield prospect in the Oakland Athletics system. Swing and a miss. Cate starts his outing out with a strikeout. That's out number 1. So Tim Cate was a 2nd-round draft pick, 65th pick overall by the Washington Nationals in 2018. Still pitching in the Nationals organization. No ball, 1 strike count. That's foul, the count 0 and 2. Jason Dominguez at the plate. 2019 draft pick of the New York Yankees. He's an outfield prospect, but in this game, he's the designated hitter. 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. Just a bit inside. Counts even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. This is our first of 3 events during the All-Star break. This is the Futures game. AL prospects playing NL prospects, that's caught out in right field by J.J. Bleday. That's out number 2. So 2 outs, top of the 5th. And Nick Prado, the first baseman, will come to the plate. But don't forget, tonight we have the Home Run Derby. It's an 8 o'clock Eastern Time start time. And then tomorrow's the All-Star game. That will start at roughly 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And all 3 of the events happening at Dodger Stadium, hosting the All-Star break. All the big games and events. This is one of 2 big games. No ball, 2 strike pitch. Check swing, but he went around. Corey Lee, or excuse me. Well, that strikeout ends the top of the 5th inning, and we'll go to the 6th. Excuse me, the bottom of the 5th inning. It's 2-0. The AL Futures lead it. That was Shea Langoliers completing the strikeout. That's who I was trying to find. Davey Garcia now pitching for the AL Futures. And he's pitching with a 2-run lead. 5, 6, 7 hitters due up for the NL Futures, though any of these 3 players are subjected to being replaced at any time. We're getting into the later innings, but Shea Langoliers, the first to bat. He'll be followed by Cody Hosey and Michael Toglia. And look at this. On the first pitch of this half inning, Shea Langoliers hits a double.
Now batting, third baseman, Cody.
Got that one to split the right center field gap. This ballpark doesn't quite favor hitters when it comes to home runs, but hits like that allow for extra bases because the ball doesn't get to the wall quickly. On 1 pitch, Cody Hosey grounds out to the pitcher. So 1 out, bottom of the 5th inning.
The first baseman.
And now here comes Michael Toglia. Toglia 0 for 1. He grounded out in the 2nd inning, getting his 2nd plate appearance in here in the 5th. Runner still in scoring position. Shea Langoliers Braves prospect on second base. Toglia swings and misses at strike one. Toglia, prospect in the Colorado Rockies system. And Deivi Garcia, a right-handed pitcher, now throwing for the AL Futures. He is rostered as a starting pitcher. So we haven't seen any true bullpen arms yet. It's been a starter spotlight so far. The two starters of this game went 2 innings, and everybody else that's come in has gotten just 1. Swing and a miss. That's out number 2.
The batter, number 9, second baseman.
So now there are 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th inning, and with that, Michael Busch will come to the plate. Middle infield prospect in the Los Angeles Dodgers system. Also, Deivi Garcia, the one on the mound, is a New York Yankees prospect. He's 21 years old. No ball, 1 strike pitch. That's hit in the air out towards center. Dom T. Williams under it. He makes the catch. And the National League Futures have not scored through 5 innings. We'll go to the 6th. On the mound for the NL Futures now is David Peterson. Top of the order, due up for the AL Futures. Again, as we get later into the innings, the 3 leadoff hitters that I list are subject to replacement still, just because of the nature of this game. But Bobby Whitt Jr., Dylan Thomas, and Dom T. Williams, the ones listed next in the order for the AL Futures. Grounded to second. De La Guerra throws over to first. That's out number 1. Correction, excuse me. That was Michael Busch making that play out at second base. Well fielded, accurate throw on a pivot. So 1 out top of the 6th inning. Now here's Dylan Thomas, who's 0 for 2. Struck out and lined out in this game. That's strike 1. Dylan Thomas in the Oakland Athletics system. Former 2011 draft pick. David Peterson on the mound. Was selected in the first round and 20th overall in the 2017 MLB draft. And right now he is listed as a starting pitcher. Swing and a miss. That's out number 2. David Peterson working through this 6th inning quickly so far.
Thompson Williams.
Got a ground out and a strikeout on just 5 pitches total. Now here's Dom T. Williams. Struck out and grounded out in the number 3 spot in the order. The AL Futures got both of their runs on solo home runs. A solo home run by Bobby Whitt Jr. and Chad De La Guerra. The NL Futures got a couple base runners on in the 4th inning. The only problem was those runners tried to steal too many bases. Kyle Isbell got on a single to lead off that bottom of the 4th inning. He stole himself into scoring position. Then tried to steal 3rd and got thrown out by Corey Lee. And then Bobby Evans walked. And he tried to steal 2nd. He got thrown out by Corey Lee. And then J.J. Bleday got out. With nobody on at 2 outs. Could have been nobody out and 2 on. But anyway, Dom T. Williams strikes out. David Peterson pitches a quick, scoreless top of the 6th. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. The AL Futures lead the NL Futures 2-0. Here's Daniel Espino.
Number 15.
Has pitched 24 games and has an ERA under 3 this season. Of course, stats in this game do not count.
The designated hitter.
toward their regular season stats. This is an exhibition game that's just designed to give these players some spotlight. And as we all know, we either are or know somebody who is a fan of an organization that needs to focus more on the future and the potential than how their certain teams are performing right now.
1-1.
And as somebody who grew up in Pittsburgh, I certainly understand the desire to just look to the future. And that's part of what this game does as well. Lets us enjoy and get a taste of some players that very well might make it into Major League Baseball soon, or maybe within the next 5 to 7 years. Counts 2-2 on Brett Beatty. Outside counts full 3-2. Daniel Espino, a 2019 draft pick. Full count on Beatty. Sharp grounder. Bobby Whitt Jr. There's the first. That's out, number 1. So Espino, the one pitching, he's a part of the Cleveland Indians organization. Signed for $2.5 million, was the 24th overall selection by the Indians in the 2019 draft. Well, one out, bottom of the 6th, then here is Cesar Silva. Silva 0 for 2. An outfield prospect in the Diamondback system. Counts 1-1. One out, base is empty, bottom of the 6th. The AL Futures have a 2-0 lead. Two ones to count. Let's foul the count now, 2-2. Cesar Silva was an international free agent signing by the Diamondbacks, as he hits that pitch out toward right field. Dylan Thomas makes the catch. That's out, number 2 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. But 2 outs, bottom of the 6th inning. Now here's Kyle Isbell. Counts 0-1, and a couple more pitchers throwing in the AL Futures bullpen. Counts 1-1. Popped into the air. Foul territory. And the catch made by Tristan Cassius at third. And the 6th inning has come to an end. No runs on no hits and nobody left on for the NL Futures after 6 full innings. It's 2-0. The AL Futures lead the NL Futures.
Big hitting for the American League Futures, number 32, Jake Schreiner.
There's a pinch hitter coming up for the AL Futures. Batting in the place of Tristan Cassius is Jake Schreiner, a Seattle Mariners prospect. And he'll most likely stay in the game to play third base as well, because that's his natural position. Facing JP Startup, a left-hander pitching now for the NL Futures. Into left field, that's a base hit. That's a leadoff single by the pinch hitter. Jake Shiner, and now a new batter coming up for the American League All-Stars. This will be a replacement for Chad De La Guerra. And it's a Tampa Bay Rays prospect, Vidal Brujan. Swinging and a miss, the count's 0-1 now. This might come as a shock to some of you, or many of you, and it is a shock to me, but JP Startup is not a real player. So just have fun watching a guy that isn't real pitch for the NL Futures. But JP Startup, I can't find him. Not only on my roster, but not on the internet either. That's a pop out from Vidal Brujan. That's out number 1 in the top of the 7th. But Chad De La Guerra was pinch hit for him. He was one of the guys that homered for the AL Futures and was a part of giving them the 2 runs that they have. But here's another pinch hitter coming in for the AL Futures now. It's a New York Yankees catching prospect, Angelo Feliciano. Feliciano comes in and replaces the Astros prospect Corey Lee. So it's also a substitution that works out in the field as well, because Lee was the catcher for the AL Futures, and now Feliciano, the catcher, or he is a catcher, so he's likely to stay in the game and play that position. That's in the dirt. Langoliers kept it in front of him enough to stop any advancements on base. Jake Shiner on first. 1-2 pitch coming from Startup, the phantom pitcher, the pitcher that doesn't exist. 2-ball, 2-strike count. That's outside. Counts full 3-2. Lazaro Armenteros on deck. The AL Futures leading this one 2-0. We're in the last third of regulation. It's the top of the 7th. High fly ball out toward right field. J.J. Bleday makes the catch. That's out number 2.
Now batting, left fielder.
So 2 outs, top of the 7th. Lazaro Armenteros, the one scheduled to bat, and he will bat. So the AL Futures still have 3 players on their bench. Buddy Mora, first baseman. Keone Cavaco, a shortstop. And Akil Baddoo, a center fielder. One ball, no strike pitch on Armenteros. Count now 1-1. We might see any of those 3 guys come into the game. It's likely. It's getting late, and there are 7 outs that the AL Futures have. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Here's Startup's pitch. Grounded up the middle. It's a base hit.
Now back, the designated hitter, Cesar Dominguez.
Well, Armenteros on with a single. That moves Shiner into scoring position at second base, and now here's Jason Dominguez. Yankees outfield prospect takes strike 1. Dominguez 0 for 2 in this game. His team leading it, though. It's 2-0. The NL Futures haven't scored through 6 innings. The AL Futures threatening here, though, in the bottom of the 7th, but there are 2 outs. And Dominguez down in the count. It's 0-2. JP Startup, the not-so-real pitcher, pitching on the mound now as that pitch is fouled off. Again, JP Startup is a player that I can't find that exists. Which is kind of interesting, but you know what? Whatever. It's the All-Star break. Things don't need to make sense during the All-Star break. Counts 1-2, unless it's from 2003 to 2016 where the All-Star games did matter. decided World Series home field advantage, but we won't go into a discussion about that. Just let those times go. Counts 1-2 on Dominguez. Here's the pitch. Chopped on the ground. Startup comes off the mound. Fields throws, but it's late. Dominguez reaches base on what will be scored a single. And that loads the bases. Jake Shiner on third. Lazaro Armenteros on second. And Jason Dominguez on first. And now here's the number 9 hitter. Kansas City Royals first base prospect Nick Prado. Prado has struck out twice in this game, but has a redemption opportunity with the bases loaded. There are 2 outs. Counts 1-1, 95 miles per hour on that last pitch from JP Startup. One ball, 1 strike count. Outside, counts 2-1. Two and 2 count now on Prado. Top of the order, due up next for the AL Futures. This at bat pivotal in this game. Startup's 2-2. That's a soft fly ball out toward right center field. And it's caught out in center field by Kyle Isbell. So the AL Futures leave the bases loaded. Stretch time here at Dodger Stadium. The AL Futures still lead the NL Futures, though. It's 2-0. So there will be 3 defensive substitutions at minimum coming into this bottom of the 7th inning. Jake Shiner now comes in to play third base for the AL Futures. Vidal Brujan now playing second base for the AL Futures. And playing catcher now. Now playing catcher for the AL Futures is Angelo Feliciano. And we have a pitching change too. Drew Peace comes into the game, a right-hander taking over for the AL Futures on the mound. And here we go. This is part of the game where we're getting a lot of substitutions. But Aramis Ottoman now batting for the NL Futures. He is a shortstop prospect in the Chicago Cubs system. 260 hitter on the year, also has 1 long ball. Counts 1-1 on Aramis Ottoman. Drew Peace's 1-1 is lined and caught out at first base by Nick Prado. That's out number 1.
Now batting, right fielder.
So 1 out, bottom of the 7th inning.
Your attention, please.
And we'll have another pinch hitter coming up for the NL Futures.
Number 31. Zach Kirtley.
So it's Zach Kirtley coming off the bench. Zach Kirtley, a first base prospect in the St. Louis Cardinals organization. One of 2 St. Louis Cardinals on the roster. The other one, Brian O'Keefe, a catcher, which, judging by how substitutions have been working recently, and the catcher spot coming up next, it's likely that Brian O'Keefe will pinch hit for Shea Langoliers, but still yet to be seen. 0-2 pitch outside, counts 1-2. So, some other fun news. I can't find Drew Peace either. So Drew Peace, also not a real person. So you have JP Startup, who was pitching for the NL Futures. It's a guy that or JP Startup, excuse me, but he's a player I couldn't find, and I can't find Drew Peace either, so I think that's interesting. But ball 4.
Your attention.
So a runner on first, and as predicted, Brian O'Keefe will come off the bench.
Number 20, Ryan.
And he'll pinch hit for Shea Langoliers. Zach Kirtley on first base. He just walked. So, two prospect Cardinals getting back-to-back plate appearances. As mentioned before, Zach Kirtley, a first base product in the St. Louis Cardinals organization. Now you have Brian O'Keefe, a catching prospect in the Cardinals organization, up to the plate. And even though the NL Futures are down late, it's still a manageable game. 2-0, the AL Futures got homers by Bobby Whitt Jr. and Chad De La Guerra. The NL Futures haven't scored yet. They threatened in the fourth inning, but ran themselves out of the inning, got caught stealing twice. Toward the middle, that's a base hit. T. Williams gets it in quickly. Kirtley stops at second. And Brian O'Keefe aboard at first. With a single, runners on first and second. One out. Cody Hosey, the one scheduled to bat, but nope, he'll be replaced. There's another pinch hitter coming up for the NL Futures. It's Tyler Callahan, a second baseman in the Cincinnati Reds organization. Callahan on a big stage now, and he pinch hits in a big moment for the NL Futures. The potential tying runs on first base. Callahan himself right now represents the go-ahead run. That's foul. The count now 1-2. That's outside. Counts even now. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Tyler Callahan. Down low. Counts full. 3-2. Three ball, 2 strike count on Callahan. Swing and a miss. Just pounded the fastball right by him. 95 from Peace. That's out number 2.
Your attention, please.
So now coming into pitch for the AL Futures is Gerald Penny. Penny is 6'1", 221-pound right-handed pitcher, 26 years old. No stats on him though from this season. So, as we saw before, a few of these pitchers that have come into the game for both teams aren't real. So let me just see. Gerald Penny isn't a real pitcher either. I just like to make the joke that for the All-Star games and the World Series sake, I'm glad that these All-Star games don't mean anything anymore. Because remember, from 2003 to 2016, the winner of the All-Star game got home field advantage in the World Series. And regardless of what you think about that or not, it's good that with players who don't exist pitching for these teams, it's good that these games don't mean anything and that they don't have to make sense. So, hey, yeah, just enjoy the fake pitchers on the mound. Michael Toglio for 2, 2-2 count on him. Strike 3 called. Well placed by Penny. Straight out of the bullpen. He gets a strikeout, and the AL Futures escape danger. No runs on 1 hit, 1 walk in the inning. 2 runners left on base. After 7 full innings, the AL Futures have a 2-0 lead.
Now playing right field, number 31, Zach.
So you got a couple substitutions now
Number 31.
because of the pinch hit appearances, but
Number 11.
now playing short, Aramis Adaman.
Number 8, Tyler.
In right field now, Zach Kirtley, and doing the catching for the NL Futures, Brian O'Keefe. And now playing third base,
Number 8,
Tyler Callahan, which means that,
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please.
yeah, well, I'm getting lost on the substitutions here, which is okay, but a lot of players getting to participate. And on the mound for the NL Futures now, Jimmy Dawkins. And here comes another pinch hitter. We've reached that point in the game where everybody's getting an opportunity to participate. Keone Cavaco. Pinch hitting now. He's batting for Bobby Whitt Jr. But Cavaco, a shortstop in the Minnesota Twins organization. So both managers doing a quality job so far of using timely and convenient times to pinch hit players. As almost every player that's pinch hit has been able to go to his primary position on defense in the next half inning. Zach Kirtley, the only exception to that, but Kirtley is a secondary position as an outfielder. He's naturally a first baseman, but can play the corner outfield positions as well, so that's why he's out in right field. And there are a couple players left in the AL Futures bench that haven't gotten in yet. Buddy Mora and Akil Baddoo. And look at that, Callahan on the first play that he saw in the game. He catches it, a line out to third. That's out number 1. Now there's the starter comparison. Not that that means too much because each pitcher only went 2 innings. But Mackenzie Gore, he gave up a solo home run to the first batter he faced in the game. It was Bobby Witt Jr. who went deep, gave the AL Futures an early 1-0 lead. They got a second solo home run from Chad De La Guerra later in the game. They haven't scored since De La Guerra hit that home run. The NL Futures have had a couple opportunities to strike, but they failed to score. Swinging a miss, counts 0-2 on Buddy Mora, the batter at the plate. He pinch hit for Dylan Thomas, but Mora, a first base prospect in the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim organization. Outside counts 1-2. Jimmy Dawkins just got into the game out of the bullpen for the NL Futures. The NL Futures trailing in this one. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Counts 2-2, and there certainly has to be some drive to want to win this game. Even though it's an exhibition, you only get one chance to play this game every year. And it is true as well that many of these players who will develop, make major league rosters, and then move on to potentially become superstars, they really won't get to play in this game because there's an all-star game every year. But there's not always the opportunity to participate in the Futures game. Cesar Silva makes the catch out in left field. That's out number 2. And Thompson Williams will come up to the plate. He's 0 for 3 in this game. Swing and a miss, counts 0-1. Williams not producing out of the 3 spot. Again, he's 0 for 3 in this game. But his team's still winning and shutting out the NL Futures. Popped up. Caught out at shortstop by Adaman. Top of the 8th inning over. No runs, no hits, and nobody left on for the AL Futures. After 7.5 innings, it's 2-0. The AL Futures lead it. So, staying in the game for the AL Futures is Keone Cavaco. He replaces Bobby Whitt Jr. at shortstop. Buddy Mora, who pinch hit for Dylan Thomas, remains in the game to play right field. And here comes the leadoff hitter in this half inning for the NL Futures. It's Michael Busch.
The second baseman, Michael.
And this is a field he might see coming up in recent years. But he is a Dodgers prospect. Sam Fletcher and Leon Mulder now warming up in the AL Futures bullpen. Gerald Panay still on the mound for the AL Futures. And these pitchers now trying to protect the 2-run lead. The NL Futures offense is looking to get that 0 off the board. And progressing to the later parts of this game, though. 2-1 pitch. That's foul. The count even now, 2-2. Just a bit too high. Counts full 3-2. Brett Beatty is the next scheduled hitter for the NL Futures. Though they have a couple players left on the bench. As that pitch misses inside, that's ball 4. Leadoff walk issued to Michael Busch, and that brings the potential tying run up to the plate. And nobody out. We'll see if Beatty bats, and he will bat. But Christian Robinson, a San Diego Padres outfield prospect, and Dan Koenig, Milwaukee Brewers prospect, they're both still on the bench for the NL Futures, so might see them come up when the top of the order comes back around. There's Beatty, third base prospect in the New York Mets system, and on the first pitch he sees, and that is bad, he hits it into right field. So a walk and a single put runners at first and second, and again the NL Futures threatening to score. There's nobody out. Runners on first and second. And here is a pinch hitter for the NL Futures. Cesar Silva done. And it's Christian Robinson coming into the game. Christian Robinson, member of the San Diego Padres organization, put up good numbers with them too in minor league ball. 307 hitter, 7 home runs and 36 RBIs for him, and has an OPS of 875. Batting in a pivotal moment in this game. His team down 2, but a potential tying run on first base. Counts 2-0. Michael Busch on second, he walked, and Brett Beatty on first, he singled, allowing Busch to advance to second. Christian Robinson has a hitter's count on him now. It's 2-0. 3-0 is the count. Gerald Panay came in and got the final out of the 7th inning. Now has worked himself into trouble here in the 8th. 3-ball, no strike pitch. That's a strike. Counts 3-1. So Kyle Isbell is the next scheduled hitter to bat, but Dan Koenig still on the bench, and he's an outfielder for the NL Futures, so might see him coming up in the next at bat. As that one's fouled off, the count full 3-2, and of course, that's if the AL Futures don't turn a triple play here. Not that it's likely, but it could happen, so can't say for certain. 3-ball, 2-strike count on Robinson. That's fouled away. The count's still full 3-2. Panay throwing in the mid-90s. That last fastball came in at 95 miles per hour. Another full count pitch coming. That's foul. Count still full, 3-2. Rated bat off the bench by Christian Robinson. Here's another full count pitch. And again, it's fouled off. Christian Robinson refusing to go away. Pinay's throwing some good pitches, though. That one on the ground, stopped at third base. There's one, there's two. What a great diving play over there at third base. That's Jake Shiner, Seattle Mariners third base prospect. Well handled by Brujan at second as well. Turned that one nicely.
Number 14, Thad Ward.
And with that, Thad Ward will come out of the bullpen, and he'll pitch now for the American League Futures. But Michael Busch advances from second to third on that play. Brett Beatty was out at second, and Christian Robinson out at first. So a great at bat from Christian Robinson to make Pinay throw all those pitches, but worked out for Pinay anyway. We got 2 outs on 1 play. There's Kyle Isbell right now. He represents the potential tying run. Soft fly ball. Played at shortstop. Keone Cavaco makes the catch, and that ends the 8th inning. So again, the National League Futures threatened to score, and again, the National League Futures turned away. We'll go to the 9th. It's 2-0. The AL Futures lead it. Christian Robinson now playing left field in place of Cesar Silva. And here comes a new pitcher for the NL Futures. It's Tyler Kolek. Not a huge sample size for him throughout the regular season, just 3 appearances. And leading off for the AL Futures is Jake Shiner. 4, 5, 6 hitters due up. Jake Shiner, Waddell, Brujan, and Angelo Feliciano. Shiner made a great diving play, which started a double play last half inning, which helped the AL Futures work around a 2-on, nobody out situation. Shiner out on the fly out to center. Kyle Isbell the one making the catch. 1 out, top of the 9th. Here's Waddell Brujan. Brujan 0 for 1, getting his second plate appearance in here. He replaced Chad De La Guerra. But the AL Futures have 2 runs on 2 solo home runs. One by Bobby Whitt Jr., the other by Chad De La Guerra. Both those players are out of the game.
1-1.
The NL Futures have threatened about 3 times in this game to score. But they were turned away all 3 times. And the NL Futures is technically the home team, but this is still a neutral site for all these players. Not that home field advantage means much in these games. But don't forget, this is just the first of 3 events being held during this All-Star break here on MLB's virtual network. Line into right field, base hit for Waddell Brujan. Waddell Brujan now on first. That's his first hit in this game. And now here's Angelo Feliciano. He's 0 for 1. But don't forget, tonight we'll have the Home Run Derby. That's scheduled for 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And then the All-Star Games tomorrow, also at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Both covered here on MLB Virtual Network. And like this game, both will be covered by me, Nicholas Callis. So you can look forward to live commentary. Hopefully the live chat's active as well, so everybody can talk baseball, have some fun, and pretend like there is an All-Star game this year. And a Futures game for that matter, because there won't be one in real life. Swing and a miss, counts 0-2 on Feliciano. Feliciano, New York Yankees catching prospect, replaced Corey Lee earlier in the game and has taken over at the catcher position. Akil Baddoo is the only player left on the AL Futures roster that hasn't gotten in, at least from a position player's perspective.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
One ball, 2 strike count. There's Kolik's pitch. Inside, count even now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Outside, counts full, 3-2. Lazaro Armenteros, the one scheduled to bat next. Seems the sun has officially gone down here, too, on the West Coast. The lights are shining at their brightest now with the darkest sky hovering over the field. 3-2 pitch. That's foul. Count still full, 3-2. Dodger Stadium, one of the more classic stadiums in all of Major League Baseball. Not one of the oldest, but it's a classic field. The Dodgers have only played at 2 fields in franchise history. Ebbets Field was the field they played at in Brooklyn, and then when westward expansion happened for Major League Baseball, the Dodgers were moved from Brooklyn to Los Angeles, and they've been playing at this same Dodger Stadium ever since the 1950s. 3-2 pitch. Fly ball out toward right field. And a diving attempt by Zach Kirtley, but he can't make the play. The other runners held at second and third.
Now back.
Angelo Feliciano with his first hit of this Futures game. Vidal Brujan now on third. Feliciano on second. 2 runners in scoring position with 1 out. And a prime position for Armenteros to drive in a run. 2 in scoring position, just 1 out. That's ball 1. Tyler Kolik still on the mound. Just came in out of the bullpen to pitch for the NL Futures. This is the Futures game, giving spotlight to top prospects in all 30 Major League Baseball organizations. Counts 1-1. Kolik in some trouble here, and his team's already down by 2. 1-1 pitch. That's strike 2. Armenteros, an outfielder in the Oakland Athletics system. Started this game in left field, and as a matter of fact, he's still playing left field. In the dirt. Count even, 2-2. Kolik's 2-2 coming. Inside, counts full, 3-2. Jason Dominguez would bat next. Most likely will, pending a double play happening. Full count pitch. Strike 3 called at the top of the zone. So a big strikeout there, and now with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. Both runners still in scoring position. Jason Dominguez will come to the plate. Dominguez singled earlier in the game for his only hit. One of a few players in this lineup that will get a 4th at bat. Lazaro Armenteros, Jason Dominguez, and Nick Prado. The 3 players that haven't been substituted for yet in this game. Actually, as a matter of fact, Thompson Williams is still in the game, so that's 4 of the starters that are still in this game. Everybody else was substituted for. And there's 1 player left on the AL Futures bench. It's Akil Baddoo.
1 ball, 2 strikes, count.
It's nearly the same situation for the NL Futures. They've used all of their bench bats but one. Dan Koenig still on the bench for the NL Futures. One ball, 2 strike pitch. Ooh, look out. That gets away. But not too far away. Vidal Brujan decides not to advance. He stays on third. 2 ball, 2 strike count on Jason Dominguez. Just a bit outside. Counts full 3-2. And Nick Prado in the on-deck circle. Well-placed pitch by Tyler Kolek. He just didn't get the call. And now he'll have to throw another pitch. Up the middle. Base hit. Brujan scores from third. Feliciano being waved. He'll score from second. Jason Dominguez with a 2-run RBI single. And the AL Futures have doubled their lead. It's now 4-0. And it's late, top of the 9th inning. Here comes Nick Prado. 0 for 3 out of the number 9 spot in this AL Futures order. He was the starting first baseman, and he's still in the game. Kansas City Royals prospect. Runner on first, 2 outs, 2 runs in for the AL Futures in this half inning. 2-0's the count. Tyler Kolek still on the mound, and he's nearing 30 pitches. He came out of the bullpen to pitch starting the 9th inning, but could not prevent the AL Futures from scoring. Pickoff attempt not in time. Dominguez back at first safely. Two ball, no strike pitch. That's just outside. Counts 3-0. Keone Cavaco would bat next. If Nick Prado could find a way to reach. .3-0 count. Strike. 3-1.
3 balls, 1 strike.
Kolek up to 30 pitches now. 4-0. The AL Futures lead the NL Futures. This is the Futures game on Major League Baseball's virtual network at Dodger Stadium. Fouled off the count. Full now, 3-2. Also, this game and all of our games brought to you by Major League Baseball's virtual network, and I am Nicholas Callis. This is the kickoff to the All-Star break. Swing and a miss. Kolek gets Prado to strike out. That ends at the top of the 9th inning, but Jason Dominguez hit a 2-run single. It's 4-0 AL Futures. Last chance for the NL Futures. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. 3, 4, 5 hitters do it for the NL Futures in this half inning. Bobby Evans, Zach Kirtley, and Brian O'Keefe. The NL Futures have been shut out to this point. Thad Ward still pitching for the AL Futures. The AL Futures scored on a solo home run by Bobby Whitt Jr., a solo home run from Chad De La Guerra, and then just in the top of this inning, Jason Dominguez hit a 2-run RBI single. That's 4-0 AL Futures leading it. 2 ball, 1 strike count. That's foul. The count even now 2-2. Overall, this game was well pitched. Both pitching staffs pitched around danger. But the NL pitching staff has been a bit more lenient. And they're down by a significant amount, and that leadoff hitter getting out, not a good sign for the NL Futures. Here's Zach Kirtley. No official at bat for him. He walked in his first plate appearance. Naturally a first baseman, but came into this game and one of his secondary positions is right field, so that's where he got put in. But that's where he got put in place of J.J. Bleday. He's quickly down 0-2. Outside counts 1-2. Zach Kirtley, a first baseman. Like I just mentioned, he's also a part of the St. Louis Cardinals organization. And he's on base for the second time in 2 plate appearances. Once on a walk and now on a single. So 1 out, bottom of the 9th inning. And here's Brian O'Keefe. He singled in his last at-bat, which was also his first at-bat of the game. Brian O'Keefe replaced Shea Langoliers. One ball, no strike count. That's a strike, counts 1-1. This is the Futures game here on Major League Baseball's virtual network. This game brought to you by MLB The Show 20, and I'm Nicholas Callis. Don't forget the Home Run Derby starts at 8 o'clock tonight. And tomorrow is the All-Star game. It's a part of our All-Star break specials. 2-ball, 2-strike count on Brian O'Keefe. Thad Ward came in last inning to pitch. Now pitching in his second inning here in the 9th. 3-2's to count. Tyler Callahan would bat next. Most likely will, but that's still barring a double play happening. Foul ball, the count still full, 3-2 on Brian O'Keefe. Now doing the catching for the NL Futures. That's ball 4. Well, this game's still a grand slam away from being tied up, so the AL Futures, it's not necessarily, it shouldn't necessarily be considered a comfortable lead. But a new pitcher coming in for the AL Futures, it's Sam Fletcher. 6'4", 219-pound, 18-year-old. Almost has the build of a Aroldis Chapman, just a little thinner. Doesn't have the muscle mass, but looks like he could throw as hard as Aroldis Chapman. There's the number 6 hitter, Tyler Callahan, who came in to pinch hit and then stayed in the game to play third base. He's naturally a second baseman, but playing third in this game, getting the opportunity to play a bit. He's a Cincinnati Reds prospect.
Yep, that ball went out.
And he'll be the first batter that Sam Fletcher faces. Fletcher just got put in for Thad Ward. It's not a safe situation yet. The game would have to be within 3 runs. It's still a 4-run AL Futures lead. One's outside, counts 2-1 on Callahan. Zach Kirtley on second base and Brian O'Keefe on first. Swing and a miss, counts 2-2. Dan Koenig still on the bench for the NL Futures. He hasn't been put in yet. Base hit into right center field. Zach Kirtley will score from second. Brian O'Keefe is rounding third. He'll come around to score, and Tyler Callahan is in at third base. That's for sure going to be a double. I don't know if they'll score him advancing to third, a fielder's choice, but either way, he's standing on third. And with that hit, the NL Futures have their potential tying run come to the plate. Still one out in the bottom of the ninth inning. Michael Toglia up to the plate. He's 0 for 3, but he's in position to turn his hitless day around and potentially become a hero. So the NL Futures will not get shut out. They trail this one by 2. And this is now a save situation for Sam Fletcher on the mound. Outside, counts 1 and 2. One ball, 2 strike count, 1 out, bottom of the ninth inning. Tyler Callahan on third. He just got himself 2 RBIs, the first 2 runs scored by the NL Futures in this game. Strike 3 called, well placed by Sam Fletcher. 94-mile-per-hour fastball on the inside of the plate.
Second baseman, Michael.
And now the NL Futures have 1 out to work with. They need at least 2 more runs to earn themselves some more outs. They could walk it off with 3 runs. Sam Fletcher was pitching when the 2 runs scored by Tyler Callahan, but both of those runs were charged to Thad Ward. Tyler Callahan is Sam Fletcher's responsibility. Callahan on third, but Michael Busch down 0 and 2. Just outside, counts 1 and 2. Michael Busch, Los Angeles Dodgers prospect, could very well be playing as a home member of this field in the future. Just outside. Trying to go back to that outdoor slider. Or that front door slider, as they call it. Counts 2 and 2, though. Just missed. Two balls, 2 strikes. Popped up. Foul territory. Catch made. Ball game over. The American League Futures have won this game 4-2. And Jason Dominguez hitting that 2-run single in the top of the ninth inning proved to be important. As if that hadn't happened, the National League Futures would have tied the game in the bottom of the ninth inning. But they do not. It's a 4-2 American League Futures victory at Dodger Stadium. Well, the National League Futures couldn't get it going until the ninth inning. Meanwhile, the AL Futures had the lead in this game from the first batter that came up to the plate for them, Bobby Whitt Jr. And speaking of Bobby Whitt Jr., that's our player of the game. Bobby Whitt Jr. went 2 for 3 with a home run and a single. He also stole a base in this one, and he gets player of the game. So Alek Manoah gets the win. His team got him the lead early, and he was pitching when his team had the lead, and nobody pitched 5 innings, so he was eligible, and he got the win. Mackenzie Gore got the loss. He pitched 2 innings, gave up the home run to Bobby Whitt Jr. in the first inning. So he's responsible for getting the losing decision in this game. And Sam Fletcher recorded 2 outs in the ninth inning, and he got himself a save in this one. Quick scoring recap for you. The AL Futures got a run immediately in the top of the first inning. Leadoff hitter Bobby Whitt Jr. hit a solo home run that made it 1-0. Went scoreless in the second and the third, but in the fourth inning, Chad De La Guerra hit a solo home run. That made it 2-0. AL Futures led. And then in the 9th inning, what turned out to be some important insurance runs for the AL Futures. Jason Dominguez hit a 2-run single. That made it 4-0. Then the NL Futures were making a comeback. With 2 runners on and 1 out, Tyler Callahan hit an RBI triple that scored a couple runs. That made it 4-2. It cut the lead in half. But the rest of the NL Futures coming to bat in that inning could not complete the comeback. Couldn't hit Callahan home and couldn't get a second run in that would have tied the game. And the NL Futures end up losing this game by 2 runs. Well, that pretty much does it here from Dodger Stadium. Don't forget the Home Run Derby coming up tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, right here at this very field, Dodger Stadium. And also the All-Star Game premiering tomorrow. Scheduled start time, 8 p.m. So check those games out, and I look forward to covering those games here on MLB Virtual Network and enjoying the All-Star break as it comes through. This has been a presentation of Major League Baseball's Virtual Network. My name's Nicholas Callis. This game and all of our games are brought to you by MLB The Show 20. Subscribe to the YouTube channel MLB Virtual Network and follow us on Twitter at VirtualMLB to get all the news that is prominent and can help you enjoy this league even more. But once again, the final score from Dodger Stadium, the American League Futures 4 and the National League Futures 2.